Okay, here we go. So my name is Stacy Gordon, and I am the Learning and Development Specialist at Oregon Employment Department. I am thrilled to be your host today for our exclusive webinar, Better Together: Essential Resources for Businesses. Over the next 90 minutes, we'll dive into a wealth of information that could be a game changer for you and your business. You'll hear from experts representing multiple state departments who will introduce you to invaluable programs like WorkSource Business Services, Vocational Rehabilitation, and the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, just to name a few. Whether you're looking to recruit vendors, navigate foreign labor certification, or explore tax incentives, we have something for you. So prior to diving into the main content, I just want to take a few minutes to walk you through some of the features available to you during our meeting to help ensure everyone has a smooth and productive experience. So first, let's talk about the chat. Clearly, we are familiar, or most of us are, but just in case we're not, we're going to touch on it. So if you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see an icon that looks like a speech bubble labeled chat. You can click on that and open the chat panel. This is where you would send messages to everyone in the meeting or privately to myself or other co-hosts. In order to send it to other hosts or people privately, click the down caret where it says everyone, and then you'll be able to select a participant. Just a heads up that once we get into the content today, I will be disabling the chat feature in order to reduce distractions. You will be able to message me and any of the other co-hosts directly if you need support or have questions. So throughout the presentation, I'll also be dropping in resources and handouts related to each program. And while I know you might be eager to dive into these materials, I kindly ask that you try not to get distracted by them during the session. We will be sending all the handouts via email out after the webinar, so you'll have plenty of time to review them later. Secondly, if you have a specific question for our presenters today, during their presentation, we will also be using the Q&A feature. So you'll find the Q&A feature icon down at the bottom of your screen. If it's not showing, click on the More button, and then you'll find Q&A feature from there. This is where you'll submit questions that you'd like the presenter to answer. The presenters will do their best to answer as many questions as time allows. And if they don't get to your question, I suggest that you attend their breakout room at the end of this session to get a chance to hear their answer. So next, we're going to go over reactions. You can find the reactions button at the bottom of the toolbar, which looks like a little heart. When you click on it, you'll see a variety of emojis that you can react to what's happening in the meeting, like a thumbs up or clapping hands. These reactions will appear briefly on the video feed for everyone to see. And if you'd like to turn them off, Zoom doesn't really allow that, so you can just simply avoid on clicking on them altogether. Or if you used one by accident, it will disappear in a few seconds and we'll all forget it happened. So next, we also will be utilizing breakout rooms for the last 30 minutes of this session. Each presenter will host their own breakout room specific for their program. When it's time, a prompt will appear on your screen showing you a list of the offered rooms. You just need to click Join to enter. And just a note, a best practice, sometimes when entering rooms, it can change your mute setting, so just check on that when you go into the room. Also, if you'd like to change rooms while you're in there, simply click the breakout rooms icon on the menu bar and then select the session you'd like to move to. No need to come back to the main space in order to move rooms. And once you're all done with the breakout room sessions and they're completed, feel free to close the Zoom application as that concludes our webinar today. One more thing to note is your mute and unmute function. You can find the microphone icon on the bottom left of your screen. In order to help minimize background noise, I just ask that you keep yourself muted during our presentations. If you'd like to speak or ask a question during our open discussion times, feel free to use the raise hand feature, which is also under the reactions button. We want to make sure everyone has a chance to participate, so we'll be monitoring the raised hands throughout the meeting. So that covers the basic features that you'll need today. If you have any technical difficulties or questions about using these features, feel free to send me a message in the chat. So let's get started with our agenda today. I'm going to share my screen and our presentation. Here we are. And first up, we have Donovan LeMay, a business analyst from the Oregon Employment Department Business Services. So Donovan, you're up.
All right. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Donovan LeMay, and I support business services here in Lane County in Eugene, Oregon. I'm part of a team of uh, about 40 people spread across statewide, and we do four things primarily for employers: providing labor market information, working on sector strategies, offering recruitment services, and assisting employers with their job postings. Um, so we work with public and private partnerships, including local municipalities throughout Oregon. Um, you can see on this chart, there's a lot of different entities that we serve, both employers and job seekers, ensuring that businesses have the labor force that you need. Um, as a business, you could try and create relationships with all of these different people and organizations and find contacts, or you can reach out to your local business services rep, and we can advocate and be your representative for all of these different folks that offer services and have talent for your organization. Next slide. Go. Um, So, what are sector strategies? So the local workforce development boards are responsible for identifying, planning, convening, and facilitating sector strategies in each of their local workforce areas. You see on this map, uh, depending where you fall on the map, this shows who your local workforce development board is and which target sectors that they're prioritizing with their training programs, and which industries that your local business services rep is prioritizing. However, like if you don't see your business listed, um, business services, we help all employers. So it doesn't matter if you're a restaurant or a computer chip manufacturer. We will connect you with training resources, job listings, and recruitment services. The next slide. So the primary service that we do that takes up, the majority of our work every week is working on staff assisted listings. So all of our services are no cost. Um, and our goal is to save employers time and money by uh, meeting with them once, assisting with the recruitment planning. We will assist in writing a job listing, posting it to multiple job boards. We can screen applicants, and that includes pre-employment screening and testing. Um, we do not do background checks or drug tests, but we have a number of other tests that we can apply to job seekers to make sure that they're meeting all of the qualifications. Um, while we're screening candidates, we also can identify incentives that um, that you'll learn about later today that that can assist your organization further reducing your costs. Next slide. So if you're interested in utilizing our recruitment services and creating a staff assisted listing, we want you to have an iMatch Skills account. You can visit imatchskills.org. You can enter a job listing, and or just meet with your local business services rep. Uh, Next slide. Another thing we want to point out is one of the incentives that your local business services rep can connect you with are training incentives. So if you work in a skilled, if you have a skilled job available and the applicants you're receiving, they don't have enough experience, or they don't have experience with your particular software or tools, um, we can subsidize that loss of productivity with on-the-job training, or OJT. The goal of this is to offset training costs. It is a cash wage reimbursement at the end of a training period. Um, we need to identify training need. So we'll look at your job description, and we'll look at the person's work history, and identify where those gaps are, and kind of determine how long the training period should be. Position requirements do vary by region. So depending where you're at, be in touch with your local rep. Next slide. Again, this is all part of our recruitment planning when we're meeting with a staff assisted listing. We just require that as an employer that you have an imatchskills.org account. If you don't have one, we can make one for you. And you'll find that with like a number of these incentives, you'll generally want to be in touch with us before you hire someone, before their start date. You want to be in touch with us about a week or two before the new hire start date. So if you're currently interviewing, and maybe you're waiting on results of a background check or something, that's a great time to reach out with us and see, hey, is this person that I'm hiring eligible for incentives? It gives us a few days to a week to check eligibility. Next slide. So I keep saying, connect with your local business services rep. The best way to do that, find us on LinkedIn, subscribe to our newsletter, or contact our team. I will be available for questions at the end, and I can get you your local business rep's phone number and email during our breakout room. All right, next slide. All right, here's on the screen's a QR code. You can just point your phone's camera to it, and it'll get you in touch with your local rep. Thank you so much for your time. I look forward to helping you out.
Great. Thank you so much, Donovan. Appreciate your time. So next up, we have Jerry Flores, your local Veterans Employment Representative. Take it away, Jerry.
Thank you, Stacy. And thank you, Donovan. That's a great segue. Jerry Flores. I am with the Oregon Employment Department Veterans Program. And we help all veterans that come into our centers. We have two types of veteran representatives. We have one-on-one assistance for veterans and their eligible spouses looking to get back into the workforce, entering the workforce for the first time after leaving the military, that kind of thing. And then we have myself, and there's two of us. Our acronym is LEVER, Local Veteran Employment Rep. The two of us, we're fully funded by the Department of Labor. They give us money to the states, and from there, we work our area. So my partner, Brianna, she is up in the Portland area, and I could connect you with her if we need to. And I cover south of Portland down to the California border and west of the coast. We are wholly ingrained with the employment department. So everything Donovan mentioned that he does, that is also what we do. Our big takeaway is that we want you to hire veterans. Think about hiring veterans anytime. Can we go to the next slide, Stacy, please? So we do have, I mentioned we have coverage in the Portland metro area and then along I-5 and west. We also have identified 5 locations around the state. My screen says 4, but there's actually 5 now. So we have coverage in the east side of the state, central part of the state, and of course on the west side of the state here. The bigger counties in Central Oregon, our staff there covers all the way down to Ashland. I'm sorry, to Klamath Falls. And we go around telling people, hey, next time you hire, we want you to hire veterans. We're going to help you in that recruitment. We're going to help you on the onboarding if needed. And of course, retention is a giant piece of what we do. Next slide, please. So again, like I said, anytime you're hiring, whether you're a one-person shop and you need to hire an assistant, or if you're Google and you need to hire, dozens of people at a time, we could help you. Anytime there's been a large industry coming to the state, WorkSource, the employment department as a whole, and of course us, we help with the job fairs. We help with developing the strategies to attract the right candidates. You're going to hear about the incentive programs that we have available when you hire. And then we meet you where you're at. If you give me a call, I'm going to come and see you, right? I have a large coverage area, but I make sure I'm in each part of the state that I cover at a minimum monthly. So if you call me and say, hey, Jerry, I want to talk about hiring veterans, I'm going to come and see you. We'll talk about a good recruitment plan, and then we'll move on with it from there. Outreach is 99% of my job is outreach. And even if you want to hire a lot of people, not necessarily only veterans, that's where I partner up with my local team. For example, Donovan and I work on programs. I have partners all over the state that we could work with programs. So we try to be a one-stop shop. And then retention. It's not just hiring somebody, right? It's keeping them. It's so expensive to onboard a new staff with the training, the paperwork that gets involved, all that good stuff. So we'll help you with the retention strategies. We also partner with our Title I partners around the state for the on-the-job training programs and things like that as well. So yeah, we can help you with any portion of hiring veterans. And recruitment strategies are big, just based on the fact that when we transition out of the military, sometimes we never want to work with another person that was a veteran for a little bit. Sometimes we want to go back to that environment. So targeting your audience is really important, and we could help you with that. We love to do site visits. Whenever you call me, I'm going to offer to come to your site. You can show me what the job entails. Show us, because I'm probably going to call Donovan or somebody in his team to come and join me. And while I focus on veterans, the local business services teams focus on everyone. So by having us both in your office, at your work site, you get the full meal deal. We then take that information you give us from your work site, and I share it with my veteran team and says, hey, I visited this company. Here's what the working conditions are. Here's the pay. Here's the type of jobs. And then we push it out to the veteran clients that we have. Another tool that we use is the informational interviews. If I have a veteran that just graduated college or who's going to enter training, they're not sure what they want to do. They might want to be a truck driver. They might want to be a data manager. We'll reach out to you as a business if we have a relationship and say, hey, excuse me, I have this veteran who thinks he wants to do this job. They are unsure. Could you talk to them and just share what your day-to-day is like, just so they can make an informed decision rather than waiting till after the training is complete to realize they don't like to sit and do data entry for 8 hours a day, or that they have to tarp a truck, in minus 10-degree weather at some point. So those are very important part of our relationship with businesses. And we also work with the trades and the community colleges and the universities. We're all in there trying to get to those veterans as they're getting ready to graduate. And we try to create pipelines. So if you have a business that requires, specific skills, we could work with those community colleges to do that. Southern Oregon is great for doing that at the Road Community College. That's just one example where they identified a need, identified a school that wanted to work with them. We all partnered, so a veteran could go to that school and then go right to work at that company once they complete their training. And again, we could help you with that. So why hire veterans, right? I always make the joke that people think of us in November and July, right? Veterans Day in November, and then in July for 4th of July. We're around all the time. Veterans bring some very important key things to the workplace, right? That natural leadership. Somebody who did 4 years in the Army has that leadership ingrained from day one. Somebody who did 3 years in the Navy, same thing. It doesn't matter. A retiree, and, veterans retire or active duty people, typically if they go in at 18, they're 42, they're out of service, and they still have a lot of work ahead of them and so much experience. We're checklist people. If you have a very specific task that has to be completed a certain way, that's what we do. We use checklists in the military for every single thing. And then safety. Safety is huge in everything we do in the military and as veterans. And we're going to persevere. There's very few things we're going to say, well, wait a minute, I can't do that just because I don't want to do it. We're going to give it a shot. And again, right, we're humans and there's exceptions to these rules, but for the most part, this is what we bring to the table. So we talked about what veterans bring to the table, right? Now, what's the business case here? So these numbers I have here from 2019, which is the last time they did these studies. But Monster.com shows that 54% of employers reported that veterans do their jobs better than non-veterans. I don't know what those jobs were, but that was the survey said. The Journal of Veteran Studies confirmed that firms that are designated military friendly have a 64% higher stock return versus companies that are not designated as military friendly. And then the third one there, the retention level, right? We talked about how expensive it is to onboard someone. The retention for veterans is 60% higher than non-veterans. Those are just statistics, right? Our mileage always varies, but we just want you to know that there's factual information saying, hey, veterans bring value to the workplace. Stacy's going to share these links. Recruit and hire veterans, please find us at our webpage. We have a connect form there as well. You can fill out a request and we'll call you back within 48 hours or so, 2 business days. And you can reach our whole staff. So no matter where you're at in the state, you go to our recruit and hire veterans page on Oregon.gov and do your contact form and we'll get back to you. No matter where you're at, we'll find you. Talk to you. If you are getting serious about hiring veterans or making a push to change your targeting for veterans recruitment, the SHRM Veterans at Work Certificate, it's amazing. It's totally free. It's put together by Psych Armor. A bunch of retired military people put it together for businesses. You don't have to be a member of SHRM. You don't have to pay for anything. You go in, there's a 10-hour certificate. Really, really good to get you thinking about what it looks like to onboard a bunch of veterans. We're not special. We're just people, but there's a lot of preconceived notions that the public has about us, and that helps you work through it. We're going to talk about the WOTC program and federal bonding coming up. And yeah, if you have any questions, please come to my breakout. Again, I cover South of Portland, west to the coast. But if you have any specific questions for your area, I could definitely put you in touch with our rep in that area. Thank you very much. And again, any more questions, please stop by the chat room afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jerry. We appreciate you sharing that information about veterans for us. So next up, we have Sherry Boyd with Vocational Rehabilitation, and she's also going to be presenting on Oregon Commission for the Blind. Thank you so much for being here, Sherry.
Hello, thank you, Stacy. My name is Sherry Boyd, and I am the Workforce Manager for Oregon Vocational Rehabilitation. And for a quick visual description, I have blonde curly hair, and I am wearing a colorful flower blouse. And I just want to begin by saying how grateful I am for the opportunity to be connecting with so many today as you choose to spend your time learning about business services in Oregon. So excited to have followed such great presentation to offer what we have collectively with vocational rehabilitation and our partner at Oregon Commission for the Blind. So who are VR and OCB? We really like acronyms in state land. So again, VR, Vocational Rehabilitation, and OCB, Oregon Commission for the Blind. Oregon supports individuals with disabilities in VR. So we know that our mission is to work with individuals with disabilities to achieve, maintain, and advance in their employment and independence. And we do this through a lot of partnership in community that we like to call a dual customer model. So in VR and OCB, we support a client, an individual job seeker who experiences a disability, and also our business customer. We are a statewide program, so VR is under the Oregon Department of Human Services, and we are federally funded. We are no-cost services. I hear a theme in our session today. We are a free resource to business and to job seekers who experience disability. We are a team of professionals. We have a robust workforce team dedicated to serving your business needs with both the VR and the OCB program. We also have professionals, which are our vocational rehabilitation counselors and our managers supporting that work. And we also have contracted experts, subject matter experts, serving individuals in a variety of disability. We are a resource to you in all things disability in the workplace. So I have the privilege of supporting a team of 6 across the state, and we identify as the workforce team. And these are direct point of contacts that are working in partnership with our workforce partners to develop relationships with business, not about hiring one person, but rather diversifying the workplace and having inclusion and access for all. Our workforce team is dedicated to listening and learning about what your business needs and hiring needs are. And we do that through, again, developing a relationship to better inform what your need is and ensure that we are preparing talent with disability to enter the workforce and meet your need. And we, of course, team. Everyone in this broadcast today is talking about how we're aligning our work and working together as your workforce partners. So we offer solutions. We can provide resource and support for recruitment. We do this through outreach and retention. We can provide exclusive hiring events to invite in population of individuals with disabilities for your workplace needs. We provide comprehensive and individualized training on disability at work. Again, free for service. So if you do have a need or want to learn more, you and your teams, then you can certainly connect the workforce team at VR and OCB. And together we will ensure that we can provide training and resource or connect you to available information. We do this virtual, in person, small groups, large groups, and again, really customize that to what is needed. And we can be a phone a friend. We can be of consult. We offer reasonable accommodation. We demystify accommodation. It doesn't have to be scary, and oftentimes doesn't cost much. And we can also provide assistive technology support. And of course, we can be a connection for resource and referral. So when you think about disability in the workplace, we want to be your primary point of contact. So why should you partner with us? If you're able to see the visual map on screen and identify color, you will see that the blue individuals are people with disability, and the yellow individuals represented on the screen are people with no documented disability or disclosed disability. And 1 in 4 adults in the United States have some type of disability. And it is true that at one point in our life, we will all experience a disability. And so when you think about this in numbers, this is 27% of Oregonian. We think about 1.15 million adults in Oregon. It is our country's largest minority group. And we often ask business, can you afford to overlook such a large talent pool? This on the screen is a visual of our business solutions flyer. This will be a resource that's available in the chat, and it gives options of how to connect with the workforce team and ways that we can support you in diversifying your workforce and meet your business need. This list is not all inclusive. So again, our services can be very individualized and catered to your business need, but we want to be that partner. So this flyer will be a resource available to you, and it has contact information for both the Oregon Commission for the Blind and Vocational Rehabilitation. Thanks for putting that in the chat, Stacy. And this is our contact information. Again, will also be provided. I am really excited to say, joining this call today, we have some of our workforce and business coordinators who will be joining me in the breakout session. So if you'd like to learn more, please tap in and see us in the next session. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Sherry. Loved hearing all of that. Next up, we have Selena Kernberger, who will be presenting on the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, other known as WOTC. Again, the state loves an acronym, and also Federal Bonding Program. Selena.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Stacy. And thank you all for being here this morning. We so appreciate you taking the time to meet with us and hear about all of these resources we have available for you. So we are going to be covering 2 things with one person, me here today. I'm going to start with Work Opportunity Tax Credit, and then I'll go into federal bonding. But I am the coordinator for both, and our teams handle both of these for the entire state, so not regions. All right, so what is this acronym WOTC, Work Opportunity Tax Credit? It is a federal incentive that is for employers, and it's when you're hiring people that meet certain category criteria of folks that typically face employment challenges. So employers must first get a certification from the state. It's the state telling you, yes, this person you just hired meets the criteria for the tax credit. And then that certificate can be turned in to the IRS to collect that credit. And so that's where the savings really comes in, is through your taxes. So this, what I'm going to be covering is all the different categories and how much those credits will earn you. Those all apply for the typical taxable employer that gets used against income taxes. But I will also let you know that tax exempt are not left out of the program, but they are limited to the hiring veterans categories. So it is specific for just those categories if you're tax exempt, and the credit is applied slightly differently to the Social Security tax. So how to use the WOTC program. It's really pretty easy. Yes, there are some government forms. That's how we collect the information. And so it really begins with your hiring process. As an employer, you can fully decide how and when you want to introduce the forms. The first form that needs to be given is what's numbered the 8850, which is a pre-screening form. This is where your candidate at this point, your applicant, would fill it out to let you know if they fit within any of the WOTC qualifying categories. And the way that the form is done is that it groups the protected classes together so that they're not specifically calling themselves out for those protected classes. It just lets you know that they are one of many that they could be in that grouping. And then it has some other specifics that are not the protected classes. So they let you know, and if they mark a box on that form, that's your indicator. If I hire this person, I could get a tax credit. So as you move along in your process, now if you do select an individual that has checked a box and you offer them the job, so that's kind of key because they need to know that they're secure, that they have this job. Then you introduce the second form, which is the 9061, and they provide a little bit more detail on the category that they fit within that will earn the tax credit. So both of those forms together is what creates a complete WOTC application. And that information has to be turned into us at the state within their first 28 days of starting the job. So that's key. A lot of times people don't know about WOTC, which is why I'm so glad you all are here today. And they'll think back once they learn about the categories and go, oh, I have an employee that I just hired a couple months ago that fits in one of those categories. Can I fill out the paperwork? And unfortunately, the answer would be no, you're too late. So that's why it's really important to get these forms in as a part of your hiring process so that you're catching everyone as you're hiring them and coming through. So then the state will review the forms and we will decide if they do truly meet the criteria or not. And if they do, yay, you will get a certificate saying that that is the case. And that certificate gets turned into the IRS at tax time. And you can do this for as many new hires as qualify and as that you are hiring. There's no limit. You will only get one category certified per new hire, but no limit on how many, and you will just repeat this every year when you do your taxes. So these are the categories that can earn you the tax credit. These are broad. There are definitely more details to these categories, but generally speaking, it's folks that receive SNAP or food assistance, TANF or Family Temporary Cash Aid. And those categories, because there are some different criteria within each, can range anywhere from $2,400 to $9,000 in tax credit. And then there's a category for individuals that have been convicted or released from prison within the last year due to a felony. And that one would be the 2,400. SSI recipients, or a good pairing to the presentation that we just saw, vocational rehabilitation participants can earn the 2,400 in credit. We have long-term unemployed, which is defined by 27 or more weeks, and that the person received at least 1 week of unemployment insurance benefits. And then we have multiple categories of veterans, and those range anywhere from 2,400 all the way up to 9,600. So those veteran categories are some of the ones that can earn you the most of the WOTC credit. So another pairing when you are choosing which services that you're utilizing to help you with your hiring and onboarding. So the other piece that influences how much you will earn in tax credit is not just the category, but it's also how many hours the new hire works for you within the first year. So it doesn't have to do with have they lasted 6 months or a year. It's not like that. It's how many hours they have worked for you. So if they only work for you between 120 and 399 hours, then you will get a partial credit. So if it's the typical, a lot of the categories are 2,400, then you would get 1,500. So it's a percentage. The other piece is if they work 400 or more, then you would get that full category credit amount. So if it listed as 2,400, then you would get the 2,400 in that credit amount. There is a breakdown that shows you for every category. It gives you the definition, the very specifics for eligibility of each category, and then it breaks down by the hours and how much credit that would earn you for each category. If you go to our website, the OregonTaxCredit.org. And honestly, pretty much all the information that I'm covering today, most all of it is on that website. So it's a really good resource. And the other thing I like to let employers know is that you can hold on to this credit and use it for up to 20 years. So if you're getting other types of credits that you're using, you can definitely hold on to this and use it in the future as well. So this graph here really depicts the fact that we don't put the burden of proof on you as the employer. So we try to make it as easy and simple as possible. You don't have to provide documentation to prove that your new hire fits within the WOTC category. So the information that they're providing and that you're providing us on the 8850 and 9061 pretty much is all that we need. So we don't have to have printouts of different, SNAP benefit verification or things like that, because we have connections, as you see all of these arrows on here, we have connections to all of these resources that we can collect the information that we need to be able to verify if somebody actually meets a WOTC category or not. So the other piece of this is also showing our network. So we do work with these folks to get information, but we also rely on them to help spread the word about the program. So you may have heard about WOTC from somebody else because we have lots of friends out there and we're always, please tell your other friends, employers about WOTC. So you might get a referral from other business partners and resource organizations, but just know that we're here for you. And if you need to get any help getting started or have questions, we're definitely here for you as well. So this is our contact information to reach our team. Again, that website is super helpful with a lot of information. There's also a contact form on there. So even if you don't get down our email or anything like that, there's a form on the website. So I'm kind of bringing that point home. The website is super helpful. That's kind of your one source of all the information that you need, even if it means I need to talk to somebody. Definitely, we will follow up with you and get all your questions answered. All of the forms are on there. So that 8850, 9061, there's an online portal that is where you can sign up to submit things electronically instead of having to go through the mail. All that information is on the website. So you can scan the QR code and get over there and check it out. So we'll go ahead and move into federal bonding. So there are some similarities between federal bonding and WOTC, but please know that they are completely different and separate programs. You don't have to do them together. They can be done separately. So what federal bonding is it's a fidelity bond that can be given to an employer at no cost. That theme again, like Sherry was saying, no cost services. And it is for people that you hire that might fit within an at-risk type of category. So each bond that we provide is worth $5,000 and we can issue up to 5 bonds per new hire. So it really depends on the employer's need and what all, the new hire is going to have access to. They can tell us if they just need that 5,000 or if they need up to 25,000 in insurance coverage, which protects against loss due to fraudulent or dishonest actions. So these are the at-risk types of categories that we would be looking to see when you request a bond. Excuse me. So we're looking for somebody that has been involved with the justice system. And again, this is not the same as WOTC. It doesn't mean they have to have a felony conviction. It can be any involvement with the justice system. It can be somebody that has disclosed that they are in recovery from substance abuse. It could literally just be somebody that is lacking work history. So you're just not quite feeling comfortable. It could be a TANF recipient. It could be somebody with poor credit if the job is requiring that they have good credit. It could be a dishonorably discharged military, or it could even be someone that you've hired through a temporary staffing type of agency. So these are all of the types of categories. When you're requesting a bond, you just have to let us know which one of these is the reason for you wanting the bond. And the bonds are good for the first 6 months that you have this new hire on board. If you would like to keep that coverage beyond the 6 months, you will have the option to do that, but then the cost will be up to you. So the things that it specifically covers, and so I want to say it is specific, that it covers theft, forgery, larceny, and embezzlement. So we mentioned that it's to cover dishonest acts. These are the dishonest acts that it specifically would cover. So when you go onto our website to request a bond for your new hire, it's super easy. You really are just filling out an online form, telling us who you and your company are, telling us who you hired, and then telling us why, telling us one of those at-risk categories, how many bonds do you need? It's as simple as that. And then we will reach out to you and let you know, okay, we got your request. You'll receive it in the mail within a couple of weeks. And then you get all the information about the actual insurance company that is providing the coverage, which is called Chubb. And then if you have any claims, we are kind of the intermediary to get you started. And then you would work with the insurance company directly if you had any claims. So this is my contact information, the QR code to the page. So again, it will explain basically everything I've said today, but then it also has a link on there how to apply that gives you the form to fill out and request the bond for your new hire. So thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate having you here this morning.
Thank you, Selena. Appreciate all that information on both of those programs. So next up, it's my pleasure to introduce Kate James, a Trade Act Program Analyst, and she'll be presenting on the Trade Adjustment Assistance.
Thank you, Stacy, and good morning and welcome everyone. I'm with the Trade Adjustment Assistance for Workers program. And in this presentation this morning, I'll be sharing more information about the Trade Adjustment Assistance for Workers program, including opportunities for employers and on-the-job training. We'll be talking more about the Trade Adjustment Assistance Program, also known as the Trade Act Program, is a federal reemployment program. And Stacy, you can jump to the next slide. There you go. Yeah, perfect. So it's also known as the Trade Act Program, and it's a federal reemployment program that assists workers whose jobs have been impacted by foreign competition. And Trade Act helps affected workers become suitably employed, and this is done through case management, reemployment services, retraining, job search, and even relocation allowances. So in general, there are two parts to the Trade Act program. One part is called the Trade Adjustment Assistance, or also known as TAA, and there's the Trade Readjustment Allowances, or TRA. TAA offers employment and case management services, occupational and work-based training, job search and relocation allowances, and technology access. The other half of the program, known as Trade Readjustment Allowances, or TRA, provides weekly cash payments to eligible workers who are enrolled in training programs and who've exhausted their unemployment benefits. And this helps to support them financially during their retraining period. This program also is a benefit to employers, and some of the benefits and connections are listed on the slide. These are highly skilled, work-ready applicants. So trade-affected workers lost their job at no fault of their own and are often highly skilled, have years of work experience, and want to return to work quickly at the wage and skill level or greater of their trade-affected work. And when engaging trade benefits and services, Trade Act customers have a support group of case managers and business service team staff to help them into training and get them work ready. Some of the work ready prep includes interview practice, resume and cover letter development, and other coaching and training to help them into their occupational goal quickly. Job development assistance is also a way that we help. The business service team can help by pre-screening candidates for employers, and they assist with job development based on the company need and candidate experience. With on-the-job training development, this provides up to a 50% regular wage reimbursement to employers while the employee is in training. And we'll go into more detail about this benefit in the next slide. Job search and relocation allowances are also a benefit, and this helps to increase the qualified applicant pool for employers. So the qualified applicant pool increases to a statewide recruitment at that point, and qualified Trade Act job seekers may be eligible for reimbursement to travel to an interview outside of their commuting area, and they may be eligible for moving cost reimbursements to move for a suitable work position. So on-the-job training combines work-based learning and full-time permanent employment, which is a win for both the employer and the job seeker. On-the-job training is a hiring incentive for employers. So if you identify a candidate that you want to hire, but there's a skills gap, on-the-job training can provide wage compensation to you while your new employee is receiving that work-based training. On-the-job training is a great opportunity for job seekers with prior experience because on day one, they're employed full-time and they earn a full-time wage in a permanent position while they're in training, and then they continue on in that role when the training is finished. Some of the benefits of on-the-job training are shown in this diagram. But as I mentioned before, on-the-job training provides up to a 50% regular wage reimbursement to employers while the employee is in training. Trade funds can also purchase any required tools, equipment, uniforms, supplies, anything that might be required for a new employee in that same job on day one of employment. Trade funds can purchase that for that new hire. And on-the-job training can last up to 104 weeks. So its training duration is based on skill gap, but it can last up to 104 weeks in technical positions. On-the-job trainings are also permanent full-time positions, and that's on day one of employment. And then, as I mentioned, they continue on in that role after training. So they're hired on in a full-time permanent capacity, and they continue on in that when training is completed. Trade Act on-the-job training can also include classroom training in addition to work-based learning. So if there's an identified skill gap that could be filled by having the new employee also attend a classroom training, they could do that in addition to the work-based learning that they would be doing on the job site. Employers are reimbursed monthly for the training reimbursements while the new hire is in training. And one thing we really try to do is provide minimal paperwork for this process. So the Trade Act and business service teams manage the training plan development along with the employer and the job seeker. And then Trade Act staff and business service teams oversee that paperwork process so you don't have to. Our staff will work with you and the job seeker to develop a training plan quickly so you can start working with that new employee right away. And then you have an assigned person within the Trade Act and Business Service teams that will be working with you to get those reimbursements processed quickly and timely every month through the duration of the training. And with that, if you have any follow-up questions, I'd be happy to answer them in a breakout question, but thank you for attending. Again, my name is Kate James. My contact information is on this slide, and if you have any follow-up questions, please feel free to email me, and thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Kate. So we'll just keep chugging along. So next up, we have Adam Grieve presenting on Oregon WorkShare program.
Hello, thank you for having me here today. I will assume that my microphone is working and the people can hear me. Oregon WorkShare. It's an amazing program, possibly the best kept secret in the state. We have a lot of those within the agency. I don't know why that is, but Oregon WorkShare is an amazing thing that can help every business retain a lot of the staff that all of these other programs are helping you to hire. I don't know if there we go. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this with the agency's vision statement, because this ties in a lot to what all these other programs that have been presented on and WorkShare are all about. So we envision an Oregon where meaningful work enables the state's diverse people and businesses to realize their full potential, creating prosperity in every community. A community is not just the people within it. It is the businesses and how all of that interacts together that creates that community. And when people lose their jobs, there is disruption. We can look at the disruption caused by the diaspora from Oklahoma to California, the Dust Bowl. The entire point of unemployment as a thing was to keep people in their homes, in their communities when they lost their job. WorkShare takes that to a next step where our goal is to keep them from losing their job in the first place. And I'll talk a bit about how we do that. So what is WorkShare? WorkShare is sometimes referred to as a short-time compensation program. And because it never actually gets talked about in any of the literature in English, short-time compensation has nothing to do with how long you're on the program. Short time is referring to your employees were hired to work a certain number of hours every week, and they were not given those hours. So we pay them, we compensate them for being shorted time. That is where short time compensation means. It is designed to help businesses prevent layoffs. So instead of laying employees off for a period of time, potentially permanently, when businesses are impacted by issues that create problems, you can instead reduce your employees' hours partially between 10 to 50%. And we will compensate them a portion through unemployment insurance to cover some of that time that was missed. And there's one more little clicky there. 31 states participate right now. They call them various things, but they're all short-time compensation programs. Each state's rules differ, but Oregon's is very accessible for businesses. So how does this program work? So if you are participating in the program, your employees will have their hours reduced. Any week that you're going to claim, employees' hours are reduced between 10 and 50%. And we will take a look at what an unemployment claim would be and pay them 10 to 50% of that benefit amount. So what this program allows you to do is keep your trained workers. You can maintain product and service levels. They are available when needed. It allows you to avoid hiring and training new employees, maintaining employee morale, creating a safety net. The fact of the matter is, as Jerry pointed out earlier, hiring and training new employees is incredibly expensive. A Work Institute study in using 2019 data showed that the minimum cost to hire a new employee is $20,000. That's full cycle hiring from when you write a job description to when that person is finally out of training and onboarding. Later studies said that it's probably closer to a third of their annual pay. WorkShare can help you in a sense that we don't want you to have to hire staff to replace after a layoff. We would rather those folks maintain their job. Next slide, please. How does WorkShare benefit employees? Again, they stay employed. That is an amazing benefit. They're maintaining their skills. When businesses have routine week, 2 week, 3 week furloughs, people come back to work and it takes them a while to kind of get back into the swing of things. I know that if I take time off, I come back and I'm like, I don't even remember what my job was and I was only gone for 2 days. So they maintain those skills. There's no gap or lapse in healthcare and retirement benefits, and they are able to receive some pay through partial unemployment when during those kinds of furloughs, they may not receive the full benefits that they could if they had done WorkShare. So qualifying for the plan. There's a lot of little clicky things through here for. So businesses that qualify for a plan, they're going to have at least 3 employees on their payroll, and at least 3 employees need to be on potentially to participate in the program. These cannot be seasonal employees. Seasonal employees are not eligible for WorkShare. If your business utilizes any kind of collective bargaining agreement or third-party payroll, they will need, they are able to join, but for unions, we will need to see a letter from them signing off on it, because usually this stuff has a lot of extra rules in collective bargaining agreements. You will submit a completed application and participant list to us through your Francis account, and we can check on that. So for employee participation, for the employees, they, unlike years past, a recent change with the rollover to Francis, they will submit their own initial claim and will need to qualify for an unemployment claim. This can be a little confusing for folks because they will apply and say, I didn't know I was applying for unemployment. I'm like, no, it's fine. It's WorkShare. This is how we pay you. It is the vehicle to this process. For any week that they are claiming WorkShare benefits, that'll be weeks where they've been reduced at least 10% of their regular hours up to 50%. And they have to be available for the hours that you did have for them to work that week. So the program steps, the timeline kind of works like this right here. The employer submits their WorkShare application and participant lists through Francis. We will review them and we get to that very quickly. We are almost, if not same day, the next day for approving plans. Once processing is complete, we will notify you with an email. The employees will need to log in to create Francis accounts and log in and file for that initial claim, hopefully in the week that they are planning on starting. It is best to not linger on that. And we provide a lot of support with walkthroughs of how to do that. And the week after that they have been reduced, so the week they can actually claim that prior week, they can go into the system, they'll claim their prior week, they'll fill out the thing, tell us what hours they worked and how much they earned that week. Not if they were paid, they earned that week. And we will sort everything out on the questionnaires. Are there any questions? We'll get to that later. Please, if you have any questions at all, ask me strange stuff on it in the breakout rooms. I love the weird questions.
Thank you so much, Adam. That was great information. So next up, we have Dora Herrera presenting on foreign labor certification. Take it away, Dora.
Good morning. Are you able to see me? I started my, oh, let's see here. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Dora Herrera, and I am the Foreign Labor Certification Program Coordinator for the state of Oregon. I appreciate you all taking the time out of your day to be here. And it sounds like you guys have heard a lot of great information about the various programs that we offer here at the Oregon Employment Department. And last but not least, we'll be talking about the Foreign Labor Certification Program and what that entails. So if you want, oh, you already on the next slide. Okay, so today we're going to be focusing on H2A, H2A special procedures, and H2B, and we'll be going over a little bit about what each one of those means. So what is the Foreign Labor Certification Program? So the Foreign Labor Certification Program is available to employers who have an employment need and believe that they are not going to be able to find enough workers within the United States to fill those positions. So the Department of Labor has developed a program, which was previously known as the Bracero program, to bring in foreign workers for the duration of the work period, which has to be seasonal and temporary. So next slide. All right. So for H2A temporary agriculture, the job, it has to be in connection with agriculture and or conducted on a farm. Employers have to prove that they are not able to find enough local domestic workers prior to being able to bring in foreign workers. And then they also need to be able to make sure that they're not adversely affecting the wages of local workers. So in an effort of doing that, you will be required to post your job in our iMatch skills system and on the Department of Labor seasonaljobs.dol.gov website. And your work opportunity will also be shared with other supply states in an effort to fill your position with domestic workers. So yeah, we will post a job for you and we'll share it with other states, and DOL will also post it on their site to be able to ensure that we try to find qualified U.S. workers prior to being able to bring in foreign workers. So some examples of the type of work that is completed for H2A agriculture. We've had farm workers, workers come in for pre-harvest activities, harvesting, truck drivers. We've recently started to receive applications for concrete workers, construction workers, fence builders. So it's basically anything that's being completed on a farm or in connection with agriculture. So next slide, thanks. So H2A special procedures. So this is for employers who have activities that's herding activities or production of livestock on the range. So more than 50% of the work needs to take place on the range in order for you to qualify for this type of program. And workers are generally required to be on call for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And because of that reason, an employer is able to pay a salary versus an hourly wage. All right, so we're just zooming right along. So for H2A and H2A special procedures, employers are required to provide housing, and that housing needs to be inspected and approved in order to be able to get a positive outcome for your certification. So we will, if it's the first time that you're using the program, we would require that you have your housing inspected by Oregon OSHA. And if there's any issues with the housing, you would need to remedy those issues in order to be able to move forward. If in subsequent years you're using the same housing and there hasn't been any changes to your housing, then Oregon Employment Department staff would go out and inspect that housing and approve it. Housing can be made up of different things. So either an employer-owned housing, so you have housing that you own. You can lease housing from other employers. You can rent housing, apartments. We've had employers who will set aside motels and hotels rooms to be able to provide housing to those who are not able to return to their permanent housing at the end of the workday. If you are not able to get housing or your housing is not approved, you will not be able to move forward in either one of these types of programs. So next slide. Right. So H2B, temporary non-agricultural work, is basically another type of visa. The work cannot be related to farm work. And same idea, you will have to recruit for a stipulated time period for domestic workers. We will post the job in our labor exchange system. DOL will post it on their website, and we will also send it to other supply states so they post it in theirs in an effort to try to fill that job with domestic workers. And if ultimately we're not able to, fill all of your positions, then you will be granted a labor certification so that you can bring in foreign workers. And we do not assist with the recruitment of the foreign workers. That's something that you do on your own. There are agents available that can assist with doing that, people that are attorneys, but we do not get involved in the hiring of the foreign workers. All right. So if I know we went really quickly, but if there's any more, there's lots of information about this program on the Foreign Labor Application Gateway System. I urge you to go there and read about the program that you're interested in. If you have further questions, feel free to reach out to me and we can set up an appointment time. We can go over any questions that you may have. If you need me to even come out to your work location, I've done that as well. We can have a conversation about what you're thinking about and, your housing situation. So this is my contact information here. Feel free to reach out. We can go over in more detail. And yeah, and I will see you in the breakout rooms in case you have any other questions. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Dora. Just want to say thank you to everyone for listening and being so polite and everything during the presentations. I am going to post the breakout rooms now. You'll be, like I mentioned in the beginning, you will be able to choose what breakout room you'd like to go. If you'd like to navigate throughout different breakout rooms during the allotted time, please feel free to do that. Just click on the breakout rooms icon and you can navigate to which room you'd like to go into. I also would like to note we will be sending all of the resources and contact information that I was posting throughout the chat through each presentation. We'll be sending that out via email along with the recording of this presentation for you all. So without further ado, you should be able to see your breakout rooms posted and you'll be able to join which program you'd like to hear more about. If there's any questions, feel free to raise your hand, but if not, join those rooms and the presenters will be encouraged to answer all your questions. Just wanted to check in on everyone still in the main space. Is there anything I can do to assist you to join a breakout room? And if not, this part of our session is closed unless you want to just stay in and chat with me.